What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special one-on-one. I wanted to surprise you guys today with World AIDS Day and a discussion with my very good friend Strawberry here. I bring some awareness to this situation, you guys, because we're almost 40 years into the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and there is no cure yet in sight. There have been some very serious medical advances. We have new medication. We have a new way of doing a lot of different things. But the fact of the matter remains that HIV and AIDS are still here. And so I wanted to talk about that today with Strawberry. Strawberry, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? They already know that I'm Michael Jonvier, the host of One-on-One, media personality, and all-around great guy. But let's know about you.
Well, good evening, everybody. Of course, as you know, my name is Derrick Cox, but I go by Strawberry. I live here in the DMV. My initials also are DC, so I hold DC close to my heart, and I do what I can to stay here and keep everybody informed. So I feel like I'm qualified for this position to talk about World AIDS Days because I myself am living with HIV, and I've been doing this work since I was 14.
Wow, since you were 14, did you find out you were positive when you were 14?
No, so I found out I'm positive March 11, 2011, but I just been involved within the community since I was 14.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the clarification. So how was that for you when you got your HIV diagnosis? Can you talk?
So it's a funny story, actually. So I was actually taking my best friend to the clinic because she thought she had something. And so we both ended up getting tested. And it was funny just because she found out that she had, what was it? It was something that females get all the time.
Chlamydia, gonorrhea, dry mouth?
So no, not an STD. So, it was something like, something like when they hold their pee for a long time or something like that. I can't remember, but
like a UTI or something.
UTI. That was something basic, so basic. So she found out she had a urinary tract infection, something so simple, easily treatable. And the doctor came back, and she wasn't my doctor at all. We just went to a clinic. So it was this white lady. She just came back, and I was like, "Oh, what's my information?" And she was just like, "Oh, you got HIV." Like, she waved it off. She assumed I already knew, and she just said it right in front of my best friend, and then walked out the room. Didn't even ask me if I was okay or nothing. She just automatically assumed that I knew that I already had HIV. Probably because the way I was dressed, or probably because how happy I was, or whatever the case is. She just did a horrible job.
I'm so mortified. So mortified. By then, that's the biggest news of your life, like literally life altering. And she's HIV. That's even worse than Pose when we saw, well, I'm not surprised that you got it. Like, girl, where's your bedside manner? You've told somebody, okay, continue.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, but don't worry. I definitely got her fired because I definitely wanted to talk to her boss, and she didn't realize how involved I was within my own community, how informed I was about this position and situation. So, I definitely got on that ass, after I took a moment to clarify the information that she told me. So once I found out from her that I had HIV, I wanted to get clerical information from my doctor and make sure that what she told me was accurate. So I got tested from my own doctor, and it was confirmed that I had HIV. And as the right thing she would do, she made sure first that I was okay, that I accepted this diagnosis, and then she asked me if I wanted to go ahead and get on treatment right away. And of course, I was like, yes, because, I felt like my body was my temple. I felt like I was doing a great job of protecting myself. But, obviously I wasn't. The person I was with, for a long time, I thought I trusted him, but I didn't. And, he ended up giving me HIV. It is what it is. I did what I needed to do to take care of me. We can definitely say he's no longer in the picture, of course. But
and that's unfortunate. And you dealt with that for 10 years now, a whole decade.
Yes.
Okay. And so from there, you do work with a lot of different AIDS organizations. Do you do testing yourself?
I do testing myself, yes.
So how is it when you are having to deliver HIV diagnosis for someone? Like, what's that like? Because I hate giving people bad news in general, but I mean, yeah.
So it's funny you say that, because I do hate getting people bad news, because I'm all about spreading love and joy, and I love making people smile. So when I do get people that's newly diagnosed to HIV, I try my best not to keep a smile on my face, because I'm always smiling, and I don't want them to think that it is good news, but I want them to also know that even though they have this new diagnosis, that they still can live with it. We have one-a-day pills. It's just like, your daily supplement. It's like take a vitamin pill, boom, you one and done. So most times I always ask them, are they ready? Are they mentally prepared to hear any bad news? And I try to like do a little joke sometimes, little health related joke or just a personal joke, and just try to get them in a good spirit before I deliver any bad news. And then once I do tell them the news, I'll see how they respond to it and how they react. And then we'll go to the necessary equipment as far as if they want to get on diagnosis or if they just want a second, opinion from their own doctor. Just whatever following with the next step is good for them.
Mm. Have you ever had a moment where somebody might have tried to do something to harm themselves once they found out said diagnosis?
Not in front of me, but yeah, definitely. When people found out, of course, they go home, try to cut, cut this, not try, they cut themselves or, try to OD on some meds, because everybody still look at this as like a death sentence.
Right.
And it is something that even though it is, doable and you can still live with it and you can still handle it, nobody never still wants to get this.
I understand. I definitely understand that. So like I said, when I first introduced the show, we've come a long way with the advancements when it comes to antiviral medication for HIV, where people can actually live with it. They can live a very normal, long lifespan into their 60s, 70s, sometimes even 80s with the diagnosis, and it'd be so low in their system to where they become undetectable. Right? Can you talk about undetectability a little bit for us?
Sure. So they came up with this whole program where U equals U. So undetectable equals untransmittable. So basically, if you stay adherent to your meds, you take your medication every day, that means you barely have it in your system. You're still positive, yes, of course, but your HIV viral load is so low that it's barely undetectable. So if you chose to have unprotected sex with your partner or partners, you have a low risk of transmitting any HIV to them.
A very low risk. So it's not 100% though.
Nothing in this world is 100%.
This is very true. I agree with
very
that.
extremely low risk of you spreading HIV.
Can a couple conceive? Like say the guy is HIV positive and the woman isn't, and he's undetectable. Can he have a baby with her that won't be HIV positive and won't transfer HIV to her as well at the same time?
I'm glad you asked. They actually can, even to the point where if a gay man wants to, donate his sperm and he's HIV positive, so they have this whole program where you go on, they make sure that you're undetectable for at least a whole year before you even decide to get pregnant or start even having kids or start even having unprotected sex. So once you become undetectable for a strictly whole year, no misdiagnosis or anything, then they start having like a regular normal checkup like every 3 months. They start having you and your partner or whoever you agree to have kids with, they start having you in a regular normal checkup of those every 3 months. And so they just want to make sure that you remain undetectable. And then also with your partner, they're going to either prescribe them to PrEP so they can take that PrEP pill just to even enhance the protection. So you don't have to worry about your child or your children having HIV when they're born.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I think a lot of times when we think of people who are living with HIV, of course, we definitely think about Magic Johnson. And he's had it for years and years and years now. He's in very, very good health. Is that because he's getting top of the line medication, or is it simply because he's following the routine that his doctor is giving to him? He's not taking any different medication than the rest of us are.
So I'm probably guessing that's probably between him and his doctor, but I would say that he got the top of the line medication, of course, because like you said, we've come a long way.
So he might have had PrEP before it was called PrEP.
Let me tell you.
Something like that. Okay. Wow. Like that's really comforting and stuff to hear. And like we said, y'all, there is still a very serious stigma around HIV in all communities. But the thing about it is, it's kind of taken a backseat to COVID in the last couple of years as the entire world was engulfed in the pandemic. And unlike HIV, which stopped and changed a lot of different people's lives, COVID affected all of us, every single one, all 7 billion of us and some change. You couldn't go to work, you couldn't go to school, you couldn't go here, you couldn't travel there. Economy stopped, the world literally froze. And a lot of people are saying, how is it that y'all created a vaccine for COVID so quickly and HIV has been here for decades and we don't have a vaccine? Well, you guys, I do want to let you know there's some general information, and they do have an HIV vaccine now that is going to clinical trials on human beings. And there have actually been some reports now that a couple of people have actually been cured of HIV. I want to pull this up, y'all, and I want to be very clear because I found this out actually on my way home today. Scientists report finding, this is a second person. They said scientists are reporting to find a second person who's been cured of HIV. Her name is Shu Yu, an immunologist at the Raygun Institute at MGH and MIT and Harvard, and senior author of a new report on a second person to be naturally cured of HIV. It's a man in Buenos Aires. They were diagnosed with HIV in 2013, never showed any signs of illness, and the traditional test failed to turn up evidence that the virus was alive and replicating in her body. Only the presence of antibodies suggested she'd ever been infected. Since 2017, researchers in Argentina and Massachusetts had been collecting blood samples. I'm sorry, y'all, sorry, her, not a him. Monday, in the Annals of Internal Medicine, they didn't find any, which means that the woman who they are calling Esperanza patient to protect her privacy appears to have eradicated the deadly virus from her body without the help of drugs or a bone marrow transplant, which would make her only the second person believed to have cured herself of HIV without drugs or any other treatment. So let me correct myself. They haven't found a cure. Her body has cured itself of HIV, and they are examining her antibodies and her cells to see what is going on. Now, it's two different things that you hear. I hear rumors that they are trying to replicate her cells to see if they can make a vaccine or make a cure from it. And I hear they are keeping her so guarded and protected, and she doesn't want to be touched. And so they're just kind of trying to let her live her life quietly. What do you feel like when you hear that?
So when I hear stuff like that, it takes me back to, the studies and the treatments of Dr. Sabi. I know, we're not allowed to talk about stuff like that because, people that have ended up disappearing, and I ain't got time for that. I got too much shit to do.
Please, yeah.
But, I've heard about, if you eat right and just live right, the body can heal itself. I've heard of these things, but, only wonders and hopes and imagine, you get HIV, diabetes, whatever, cancer, you just hope and pray that the body heals itself and kick it out. If I just eat right and I live right and I take my vitamins and do what I need to do, I'll just heal myself. And it's, I'm not gonna say it's not possible because it is possible. You never know what the body is fully capable of.
That's very true. And the thing about it is the human body is very adaptive, you guys, highly adaptive. Yep. There have been a lot of times where viruses wiped out the whole village and left one person. And we're wondering, like, why wasn't this one person? They adapted, they survived it. And I mean, that does give some hope. And with this information about this vaccine that's coming down to clinical trials, I'm really hoping that it could be more than a vaccine. I'm hoping it would be a cure, because the only thing about it is what a vaccine is. If you don't got it, the vaccine can prevent you from getting it or lessen your chances of getting it considerably. But if you already do have it, then you're still just living with it. And we would like to see a cure. Either way, I personally want to say, and I just want to give you my experience with HIV and AIDS. I'm HIV negative. I once had a scare where I tested positive for HIV. I was terrified. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified. I was crying. What was going on? And they tested me again, and it was a false positive. And
which happened.
Which does happen. And so for me, it just made me all that more determined to use condoms and try to find the best ways to always protect not just myself, but other people as well. Because I genuinely do care. If I'm having sex with somebody, even if it's just a hookup, I want to be safe. I want to be safe. I want to be safe. And so in the process of me trying to be safe, I tried to take PrEP. And I found out that PrEP, for those of you that don't know, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna let Strawberry explain PrEP.
Sure. So PrEP is a pill that you can take before you start having sex. It's like, people say it's like a condom pill, but PrEP only protects you from HIV if you choose to have condomless sex. Not saying you should have.
Let's repeat that. If you choose to have condomless sex, PrEP only protects you from HIV. So if you have gonorrhea, herpes, chlamydia, hepatitis A, B, C, whatever alphabet they got using, that PrEP has no defense against that. You're still going to get syphilis. You're still going to get that. You're still going to get it. But go ahead.
And there have been cases where people that were on PrEP and they still ended up getting HIV. But the quickest, easiest way to explain that is if you're taking a drug that protects you from only one thing, but you're already infected with other things such as STIs, then how effective can that drug be to protect you if it's already having something else attacking and fighting it for you? Gotcha. So you can't be taking PrEP but have gonorrhea and chlamydia or herpes, but then still expect yourself to be protected from HIV even though you're taking PrEP. Like you have these things, these infections, they cling to one another. So you're giving your body an easy opening. So if you get HIV and it's connected to any STI, that's a direct line to your bloodstream and boom, instant. You can't expect PrEP to do too much when it's going against such a horrific situation. The body is very, very, very wonderful and amazing, but it's also scary too when you don't know what's going on the inside.
That, and that is the truth. You think you're the picture of health, and then one day, something that fall apart, not doing this, supposed to doing this, like a chink. You falling apart. Like, what's going on? I was just good yesterday. Well, yesterday was the last stage of it. And it's like, well, what's going on now? So we just have to be mindful of our bodies and protect ourselves always. Somebody like myself, I actually am not compatible with PrEP. It makes me very, very sick. It makes me almost deathly ill. And so I had to get off of it. I tried to take another type of drug that's similar to PrEP, and it's liquid. You actually enter your veins to shoot. I can't remember the name of it, but that made me just as sick as well. So I'm somebody who has to use condoms if I'm out here dating or just hooking up or just having a good time, unless I'm in a seriously committed relationship or with a monogamous partner where it's just me and them. And I've run through a lot of condom shaming now. And I know before we would shame people who were having raw sex, but now it's kind of, well, let's not say raw sex, y'all, because that's so slang. Let's just say condomless sex, okay? Condomless sex or natural sex, sex the natural way. And I run into condom shaming now. As a HIV advocate and tester and somebody who works for public health, how do we combat condom shaming, and where do you feel like that's coming from?
So sadly, within the community that we live in, we have shaming and stigma with everything. Like even with PrEP, they was giving shame into that. Like people that took PrEP, they was like, oh, well, you don't use condoms. And now people that do use condom, like you said, they shame them for that. And it's like the only way to combat it is I just continue to inform people like your body, your health, your choice. Like that's what I always stick to. Like only you can control what goes in or out your body, sexually or unsexually. Like it's the decision is yours. So if you want to protect yourself, then you protect yourself. You don't let nobody make you feel shame about anything, even if it's the person that you want to have sex with. If they don't want to use condoms, but you do, don't feel obligated to have condom sex with them. Amen. The same thing if, just like sucking dick, like if you don't want to swallow, don't swallow it, spit it out. Like it's just, you don't have to do anything sexually that you do not want to do just because you want to happily have sex with this person, or it's a chance that you can have sex with this person that you've been wanting to have sex with. You shouldn't fall under shame for anything. And I don't even understand why there's shame in condoms. There are so many different types of condoms. And if people took the time to actually look and actually try them out, they got these ultra thin condoms or these ribbed and studded condoms. Like the feel of it is so amazing. Like when it's on you and then when you're going in somebody else, it's not just the joy and the fulfillment for you, it's for them too. Like you have to try things out before you actually discard it or even put shame to it. Also, and if you don't like condoms, then you're probably using the wrong lube.
That too. If you buy let's be clear about that. Because I had a conversation with my doctor and he brought up the fact, he said, if you are getting your condom, your lubes out of Target and Walmart and your local supermarket, it's very cheap. It's not going to be conducive to your body. It's not going to be sexually pleasing to you as something that you might have gotten from a sex store at a place that's directly made and manufactured that for your personal pleasure. Spend more money on a lubricant that you use. And y'all, this is not just for people who are part of the LGBT community having what you guys call gay sex. Yes, this is just period. Like this is for everybody. Because let's be very, very clear. HIV is not a discrimination of sex, gender, color, race, class, or religion. Every single type of person on the planet has, every community is affected by HIV in some way or form. It's at a point now where they say they've even found it in the rainforest in different tribes, the most remote locations on the planet. So let's be very serious about this. It's a world problem. It's just as much a pandemic as I feel like COVID is, but because it's not impeding life the way COVID is, the money, the time, the energy has not been put into it. And it's still such a stigma that is directly attached to the LGBT community, and then they're the cause of it. And it's a plague to wipe them out. It's not a plague to wipe people out. It's a disease that popped up, and it's a condition that popped up in the 80s. And had they had this, it really makes me mad when I think about it. Because had people done their due diligence, had they put people above their personal feelings about each other, this could have been something that was combated early on and perhaps eradicated by now. It's sad. It's really sad when you think about it. It's very sad when you think about it. Since the beginning of the epidemic, 79.3 million people have been infected with HIV, and 36.3 million people have died of HIV. Globally, 37.7 million people were living with HIV at the end of 2020.
Okay, for your research.
So when we, and what's even, sadly what's interesting is the ethnic group that are most affected by HIV, you guys, by race, ethnicity, Black/African Americans and Hispanic Latinos are disproportionately affected by HIV compared to other racial and ethnic groups. Also, transgender women who have sex with men are among the groups at the highest risk for HIV infection, and injection drug users remain at significant risk for getting HIV. I wanted to point out a fact about them saying that Blacks and Latinos are disproportionately affected by it. That's because a lot of times communities of color go to free clinics. They have to, they can't afford like private care. When you go to a free clinic, they report your results to the federal government, state government. So that more Black and brown people are reported than say like Caucasian people who are more likely to have a private doctor who's gonna keep their information to that facility, okay? Because they're allowed to do that. So it's not necessarily that Black and brown people are the ones who make up the faces of HIV more than whites. It's the fact that they're just more reported. So I want to put that out there, okay?
But then I also want to add that it's also because when we do go to the doctors, we never come back for treatment. And that's irritating. That irritates me more when you find out something is wrong, but then you don't go back to fix that problem because you just feel like you can take care of it.
Right.
Ginger ale do not fix everything. Ginger do not fix everything. Onions do not fix everything. Neosporin does not save the world. Rubbing alcohol and peroxide does not fix everything. And I understand, you know, you have a bad experience. You can get another doctor if you don't like the one you have. You can change your meds if you don't like the ones you have. When you go to a clinic or when you go to a dentist, when you go to anywhere that concerns your health, these people work for you. You don't work for them. Their job is to take care of you and to make sure that you feel complete as a person before you walk back outside that door. It doesn't matter what clinic you go to, even everybody else go there or nobody go there, or you need to go to a secret one, whatever. But your health comes first. You can't do this job without your health. You can't take the money with you to the grave. You can't pay them bills if you're sick and can't move or you in pain. Your health comes first. Do what you need to do. Go to the doctors, get checked, and take care of whatever situations you have. It's just as simple as that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I also want to mention, want to backtrack just a little bit and mention another medication you guys called PEP for people who were originally exposed to HIV. Like say you had sex maybe a night before, you find out later on the person was positive, they didn't necessarily tell you, or you feel like you might've got exposed, you can actually take a medication and it'll prevent you from getting it within a certain amount of time, correct?
Yes. So if you've been raped or if you had sex under the influence, whether you was high or drunk or asleep or whatever the case is, if you feel like you've been exposed to unprotected sex and you may have concerns about catching HIV, you can go to the doctor and insist that you take PEP. PEP is the before drug, as they call it. PEP is before, PrEP is after. So PEP is a drug that you can take for a consistent 72 hours, that's 3 days. So they're gonna make sure that you take this drug. And sometimes they even extend it to a week, depending on, you know, the sincerity of the situation. But they're gonna have you on this drug just to make sure that your system is okay. And then they're gonna test you afterwards just to make sure everything's good. And that window of opportunity was definitely missed by HIV.
Shout out to the advancements that we have.
Let me tell you, especially for these 1 pill a day and the sizes that they got so small, it's so beautiful.
So that's the thing about it, because a lot of times people think like when it comes to HIV and AIDS, it's taking all these medicines, like you just have these mountains of medication that you have to take. Do people still have to take that much medication, or you say it's like 1 pill a day now?
Oh no, now it's like 1 pill a day. I mean, a lot of people, because they come from taking a bunch of medication back in the day, some people don't qualify for the 1 pill a day, but it's still no more than 3 pills.
Okay.
So like all those 7 to 9, 13, or even 27 pills, all of it's been, if you definitely don't apply for the 1, you can definitely apply for a 3 regimen pill at the latest, at the most. But anybody now today, like anybody within the past 20 years, definitely requires one pill a day. And it's so small. It's just beautiful. I love it.
Awesome, awesome. Whew.
Mm.
In closing, I want you to talk to somebody out there right now who might have just found out they were HIV positive, and let them know about some of the resources they can have and how it's going to be okay.
Oh, definitely. You know, to any of my friends, fellow followers, fans, anybody out there that just happens to see this video, like if you are newly diagnosed with HIV, just know that it's okay. It may suck for right now, but it's okay. You will be fine. Tell your doctor, be honest with yourself, be honest with your partner. There's a time limit for it. You don't gotta do everything up front right now. The most important thing I can tell you is just take care of your health and your body. And just know that you can continue living on. It's just like a vitamin pill you take every day.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I also want to encourage everybody to let's dead this stigma that comes along with HIV. It's not something you're gonna catch from a sneeze. It's not something you're gonna get from a kiss. It's not something you're gonna catch from eating after somebody. That at the end of the day, y'all, that's the person that's infected with HIV is still a human being. The medication and the advances we made in science mean they can live a long, very happy life. You don't have to let this be something that stops you from being with somebody that's HIV positive. If you don't want to be with, if that's a kill for you, if that's a no, I'm not going to do that, you know what, that's your business. But at the same time, don't discriminate, don't hate, and don't spread other people's business. I think first and foremost, we need to have some pride within ourselves to not want to feel, how can I say this? We need to have some pride within ourselves to not be so insecure as to try to find some chink in somebody's armor, as to spread their medical history or their business to make you feel better about yourself. I want you to take the humanity that you have, that you've been born and blessed with, and tomorrow, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, today is World AIDS Day. Take some time to go with a friend and say, hey, yo, let's go get tested today. I'm here to hold your hand. No matter what happens, I'm here for you. I love you, and it's going to be okay. If you say those three things to people, y'all, you know how much better their day would be, how much better their life would be, and when you actually mean it. So I really want to encourage y'all to do the right thing. Strawberry, thank you so much for your time and doing this with me so ad hoc, y'all. All right, Strawberry, where can everybody follow you at on social media as well?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm not easily findable on Facebook with Chow Mei Cox. That's Chow Mei, the Chinese word for strawberry. Cox, C-O-X. Or you can follow me on Instagram as strawberry with 3 B's, the number 48.
With 3 B's, huh? Okay. And of course, you guys, you can follow me here at Michael Jonvier on all my social media platforms. Check out my TikTok. It is popping, popping, popping. Check out my Facebook videos. I really wanted to touch on this because very recently, a friend of mine who lived in New York, a lot of you guys know I lived in New York a few years back, and he was very, very, very special to me. And I just found out, let me get myself together. I just found out on Sunday that he passed from AIDS. And I just kind of watched him go from this really, really happy person to this really scared, sad. He was a good person. And I just know, had growing up, had he been surrounded by the situations that we have now of acceptance and people saying that it's okay, I think he would have still been here today. So to everybody who's ever lost a loved one to HIV, for anybody who's living, I'm sorry, to anyone who's ever lost a loved one from AIDS, because yeah, do right, y'all. And that's the real 101. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. 101 will be back officially in a few weeks, and I have some more guests coming through, but it's gonna always be about some social issue, y'all, because honestly, if we're not using our platform to educate or change the world, then what are we doing it for? Be the person that you needed when you were growing up. And I can honestly say, Mikey needed Michael Jonvier. So I'm glad he was here. All right. I love y'all. Be safe. Wear red today. It's World AIDS Day. Show somebody you care. Peace.
Bye.
Check out to the YouTube channel and subscribe, because I'm not going to be on IG Live anymore. She has not been kind to me. You can check out everything on YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Tell everybody, okay? I love y'all. Good night.
Bye.